The Green Bay Packers have a tough decision to make about a former first-round pick. We've got that and more coming up on today's episode of the Daily Packers Post. I'm Gil Martin. Welcome to the Daily Packers Post, where we bring you in-depth videos on your Green Bay Packers. We have new episodes dropping every day, Monday through Friday. So hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And also visit our website at thepackerspost.com for in-depth articles on your Green Bay Packers. Today, we discuss the Packers' decision on Lukas Van Ness. And it's a decision that has to be made by May. GM Brian Gutekunst has to determine whether or not the Packers should pick up the fifth-year option on the Iowa alum. And that would kick in for the 2027 season. But the question is, has Lukas Van Ness shown enough and done enough to justify picking up that fifth-year option or signing him to another extension? And look, if you look at Van Ness's career so far, the Packers knew he was a project when they picked him 13th overall back in 2023. He earned the nickname Hercules in college for his size and athleticism, but he needed work on his technique and had to rely less on pure athletic ability if he was going to succeed in the NFL. In his first 2 years, he did not start any games, even though he played in all 17 contests in both seasons. He was either the third or fourth man in the edge rush rotation. Now, as a rookie in 2023, he had 4 sacks, 32 total tackles, and 8 tackles for loss while playing 33% of the Packers' defensive snaps. In 2024, again, all 17 games, 3 sacks, 33 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and his playing time went up to 39% of the defensive snaps. Now, in 2025, Van Ness was limited to just 9 games. He dealt with some injuries, and he finally started 2 games, his first 2 career NFL starts, recorded 1.5 sacks, 19 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, played 45% of the defensive snaps in those 9 games that he played. Definitely showed some improvement against the run, and the technique starting to show. He showed flashes of making different moves that proved he didn't just have to rely on his athleticism. So what is the cost of the fifth-year option? Well, if the Packers were to exercise the fifth-year option on Van Ness, his 2027 salary and cap hit would be approximately $15.4 million. It's a 1-year deal, fully guaranteed, no signing bonus. You can't prorate any of that. And at the scouting combine, Brian Gutekunst basically said to the media when asked about this, it's about what we think he's going to do in the future, not what he's done in the past. So that's kind of how we look at things. We did that with Devontae Wyatt last year. If that's the decision we decide to do, I won't have a problem with that at all. So early to mid-May is the deadline, and you could sign him to the fifth-year option, or you could go to a long-term extension that would reduce the 2027 cap hit because you've got multiple years, you got a signing bonus, you could prorate the bonus out. Now, for what it's worth, Van Ness is only going to turn 25 years old in July, so this should be the start of the prime of his career. Now, he should have a bigger role on the Packers this year. He's going to be one of the 2 starters on the edge entering 2026. Rashawn Gary traded to the Cowboys. He's not back. Kingsley Enagbari's not back. We also know Micah Parsons not going to be ready most likely for week 1 as he rehabs from the torn ACL he suffered in Denver in December. So he's likely to miss 3 or 4 games to start the season. And then when he does come back, he's likely to be on a play count for a few games. So Van Ness will be one of the starters if he's healthy, and he'll be the experienced veteran edge rusher in the lineup for those early season games. Now, the Packers do have a new defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon, and he's switching the base defense They played a 4-3 under Jeff Hafley. They're going to play a 3-4 base under Gannon. And that means Van Ness could be moved to outside linebacker where he played as a rookie. And he's got some versatility. So he could line up at outside linebacker and base. And then in obvious pass rush situations, they could occasionally move him inside to rush the passer as a defensive tackle, or if they're playing a straight 3-4 as a typical defensive lineman. And that would give Gannon some flexibility and probably get some more reps for Van Ness. The Packers are going to count on Van Ness to have a strong start to the 2026 campaign. But first, they have to decide whether to sign him to a new contract. We'll know by May whether they exercise the fifth-year option. But either way, it'll be up to Lukas Van Ness to show that he deserves a new contract, whether it be the fifth-year option or an extension beyond that. And we'll see how this all plays out. It's going to be an interesting year ahead for Lukas Van Ness and the Green Bay Packers. Visit our website at thepackerspost.com for in-depth articles on the Packers. Here on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss one of our episodes. I'm Gil Martin. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, go Pack Go.